And you are watching and listening to Thursday, September 5th screencast of DV editing. And this screencast is going to cover items such as creating folders, naming Finder items, placing items in folders, and then using a kind of a cool search feature that's built into the Mac here. So let's go ahead and get started. To bear with the raspy voice, we're fighting through a cold here. So anyhow, I've opened up a Finder window, and kind of a takeoff from yesterday, I can see out in the sidebar some shortcuts for DVE, Lessons Media, and I'm missing one here. You're going to be using DV1 for your media needs, and it'd be nice to have a shortcut out there for that. So just let me drag that out as a shortcut. And what we wanted to focus on first was how you make folders. So if we just randomly put stuff into our DV1 folder, it's going to be hard to organize it. So we're going to encourage our DV editors to use folders and place their stuff into meaningful places. So to make a folder, all we have to do is pick an area where we have some white. We can right click and choose new folder. Now on a Mac, like many systems, when an item is highlighted, what you type replaces what's highlighted. So there's no need to hit the delete key and start typing fresh. We can type whatever we want right from here. So let's assume we want to make a folder for video. All right, so just type in video as the name of this folder. And I'm going to repeat that for a couple different types of media. Let's make a folder for images. Let's make a folder for sound bites. Let's make a folder for, let's say, word processed files. And let's make yet one more folder for PDFs. In the background, you might have heard the Mac Lab boot up. It's about 7:30 in the morning, and they're all scheduled to boot at 7:30. So that's what you heard. So all right, we're looking good. We have five folders correctly created, and now it's our job to put some items into these folders and then correctly name the items. So by the way, in the Finder, if you decide to change the name of an item, there's a couple ways to do it. My favorite way is to click on the item and simply press the return key. All right. Another way to do it is to click on the item and then click on the name of the item, and it'll light up after that after a slight pause. So anyhow, I'm going to take this Finder window, make it a little bit smaller, slide this over, and then we're going to find some items and put those items into that folder. So if you remember, we go back to our hard drive, we can open up another Finder window with Command N is a shortcut, or I can double click the Mac HD out here. So if I do that, I have a separate Finder window, and the object of the game here was to kind of weed through our DVE folder. Remember, DVE contains templates, files that I've sent you to use to learn to use the Mac and to learn to use our video editing software. So the object of the game is for us to kind of weed through, get to know some of these folders and some of these items in the folders, and then place them into the the corresponding folder in DV1. And what's going to happen here is I'm thinking this is going to probably make a copy here, but I'm in as an administrator, so it might actually do a move. So your mileage may vary slightly if you are on your machine doing this in real time. So, well, if I wanted to find some video, I know that I could look inside the media folder, and if I go to Harry Media, I've got all kinds of video in here. Now, as we learned yesterday, we can sort these according to, if we go to list view, we can sort these according to kind, and that would make it easier for me to find movies, right? This is all video. So in a couple clicks, I had no problem finding a couple of videos. So, all right, the object of the game is to find a video or two and place them into the video folder and then maybe rename them. So I've got a fire movie. This seems like something that I could place over there. So if I drag it and drop it, it did indeed make a copy. That's good. I mean, that's kind of what we wanted to do. Probably because this is a read-only folder, Harry Media, and DV1 is a read-write folder. So that's why I did make a copy. Let's grab another one here. Let's grab Boys in the Hall and drag that into the video folder. Now here's something cool that a lot of people don't realize. If you've made a mistake, maybe you've dragged it to the wrong folder or just decided, maybe I don't want that over there, you can undo the last Finder action, kind of like in a word processor. So if I go to Edit and choose Undo Copy of Boys in the Hall, if I just peek inside this video folder, it's no longer in there. So kind of a neat thing. I indeed want to put that back in there. So it's kind of a neat thing to know. Okay, so I've got a couple of a couple of videos in there. Let's go and find a couple of images. So I'm going to hit my back button and go to the Images folder. And I've got all kinds of different images. I've got them, again, I can arrange them by kind. So I've got I've got a JPEG, a TIFF. Let's get some variety and put a JPEG in our images folder, and then maybe a TIFF. And then if I want to get some sound bites, I can go out here, and I have a sound bites folder. And let's go Uper style. Different file formats, again, by kind. These are AIFs. It's a very common Mac audio format. So let's go with the, we got to have the Fliver Fight song in our sound bites folder, and then maybe the Discovering theme song. And keeping up with yesterday's lesson, remember, if you have a Finder item selected and I go out and tap the space bar, I will get a preview of it. So space bar takes a preview away also. There goes my soundbite. Okay, now let's go find some word process files. I don't see a folder for word process files, but somewhere in here we have handouts. We talked about that folder yesterday. That would imply word processing. And again, I've got them sorted by kind. So I'll just grab maybe a word process file here, a Word file. If I scroll a little bit further down, I'll grab a Pages file. That's Pages is a Mac only word processor. And then it looks like I want to put some PDFs in there, and I can't help but notice down below I have a couple. So if I grab this DV Editing Final Project, that can go in there, and I can put this one in there too. So just basic file management, finding some different varieties of files, moving into my folders, and if I look in these folders, I can see the PDFs with their extensions and so on. So looks like a job well done. Now, of course, inside of these folders, we can further nest them. Right? We can create folders inside of folders and say maybe we want special effects videos, like this fire maybe. And then a new folder for, stunts. Okay, so you could kind of nest these things as such, and that would take care of that. So anyhow, we've learned how to put some files into folders and how to nest them, and so this looks like part one of our little screencast is done. Really, the last thing I wanted to demonstrate out here before assigning some guided practice was a built-in feature where you can find things according to some criteria. So let's take and do a couple of my favorite searches. This is what I do all the time, especially when I notice my hard drive is getting full. If you go to File and choose Find, notice what pops up. It's going to search this Mac by default for a kind of file, and then you can tell it I want to look for folders, images, music, movies, music, PDFs, and so on. Okay, the first search I'd like to try to do is, hey, my hard drive is almost full, and maybe I want to find the files that are the biggest files. Now, this doesn't offer me a chance to find big files with these defaults. So if you look down under Other, you have a whole bunch of these extra ones. And I was looking for file size, so this is searchable. Notice there's quite a few of them. So, there we go, file size. Okay, so if I include that, I might as well put that in the menu. That's one we're going to use all the time. Now what I could do is say search this Mac for file size is, and I like to go greater than, let's say, to me a 2 gigabyte or greater, bigger file is pretty big size. So now if I just change, oops, I shouldn't put 2 gigs right there. 2 gigabytes right here. There they are. There's our 2 gig files. So if your hard drive's filling up, that's a great way to kind of weed out the stuff that's taking up all the space, and you can manage it as you see fit. By the way, we did not get into this before. I think I did mention it yesterday. If you have a file that you no longer want, to get rid of it, you can drag it to the trash can. Zoop, way down at the bottom, and then you'll get rid of it. So didn't mention that in the file management in the other part of the video. The other thing I wanted to show you with respect to searches was how easy it is to find a specific file, not only by file size, but you can add multiple criteria. So for example, let's do a search, and this time we'll do two things. We're going to narrow it down by folder, where on the hard drive it is, so it doesn't have to look through the whole Mac. Let's say you want to look through the DVE folder, so if you browse out to DVE before you do your search, when you go to File Find, it'll search only DVE if you specify that. So let's look in DVE for, well, let's do a specific file. Let's do kind is a movie, And if I go to plus, I can add criteria. I could say, oh, file size is greater than, let's go with the standard 1 gigabyte, 1 gig. So this tells me these are all the videos that are greater than 1 gig in DVE. So we've kind of narrowed it down just as a demo. Okay, if you are in class, if you were in class, you'll know that the last part of this activity would be having the user go in and do some searches for a word process file, a video, an image, a PDF, and a soundbite, and then put it in the respective folder inside a DV1 that we created, and then name it correctly. So that would be the follow-up to this, and on Edmodo, there will be a short little 4 or 5 question review that you should take after completing this video. So that's all we have for Thursday's screencast.